Welcome to Rising Waters, Planning for Flooding in the Ocean State, part of the online series providing resilience education for planning in Rhode Island, or PrepRI. PrepRI is a partnership of Rhode Island Sea Grant, the University of Rhode Island, and the Narragansett Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve. Thanks to the Rhode Island Division of Statewide Planning for their support in funding this update to the 2017 module that was promoted by the Rhode Island General Assembly and state government. My name is Morgan Riley, and I'm the State Floodplain Coordinator with the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency. I'm pleased to be joined by my colleague, Diane Williamson, the Director of Community Development for the town of Bristol. Together, we will help you navigate key flooding concepts and insights throughout this module. The PrepRI series is designed to support local decision-making and community resilience. By the end of this module, you will be able to recognize major flooding types and trends in Rhode Island, describe the impacts of flooding on communities and infrastructure, and explore mitigation options from retrofits to acquisitions to incentives, and explain the role of outreach and planning in building community resilience. So why should we care about flooding? Hundreds of miles of Rhode Island's riverine and coastal shorelines have been historically used for business and pleasure. Many of these areas lie in floodplains and may be vulnerable to disruption and damage. In fact, flooding is the most prevalent and frequent natural hazard that impacts Rhode Island. We can be proactive and take steps to reduce risk. Much of Rhode Island's economy relies on coastal businesses. In 2016, a Special House Commission study found that Newport alone has more than 500 businesses at risk of flooding, including 50% of the city's hotel industry. Rhode Island has approximately 19,000 structures, including public, residential, and commercial, and about 45,000 residents within the 1% annual chance flood event zone. A 1% annual chance flood event, also referred to as the 100-year flood, has a 1% chance of occurring in any given year. Another way to think about that is over a course of a 30-year mortgage, there is a 26% chance of this type of flood. Flood maps show the 1% and the 0.2% annual chance flood event zones. A 0.2% annual chance flood is also referred to as the 500-year flood. So what exactly is happening? Over the past dozen years, Rhode Island has experienced significant flooding due to hurricanes, nor'easters, and other heavy rain events. In 2010, rains over the course of a month caused massive flooding of the Pawcatuck, Patuxent, and Blackstone River basins, severely impacting interstate highways, treatment plants, residences, and businesses. In 2011, Hurricane Irene caused flooding, as well as severe wind damage in many areas across the state. In 2012, Superstorm Sandy resulted in extensive damages and over $100 million in private insurance claims from storm surge and erosion. In 2017, king tides, including one in November, which coincided with a major nor'easter, caused extreme high tides. In the winter of 2023 to 2024, Rhode Island received 2 presidential disaster declarations and $12.9 million in FEMA relief aid for flood damage caused by severe storms and snowmelt events. Flooding can occur with daily high tides or intermittently with excessive precipitation or storms. Along the coast, tidal flooding affects low-lying areas during extreme high tides. Flooding due to storm surge, which occurs when strong winds push waves landward, is less frequent but can devastate coastal floodplains, especially when a storm hits at high tide. Inland, heavy rainfall may inundate areas more rapidly than our environment and infrastructure can absorb it, resulting in riverine and flash flooding. Sea level rise will amplify both tidal flooding and storm surge, causing more widespread damage to coastal areas in the future. Riverine flooding is becoming more common in Rhode Island due to rain events becoming more frequent and intense due to changing climate conditions. Increasing precipitation results in increases in flood risk, which is made worse by development with hard surfaces, like roads and parking lots, that prevent water from soaking into the soil. Before 1970, many local rivers experienced a flood event every 5 to 10 years, but today we are seeing flooding every 1 to 3 years. In many cases, the severity of the flooding is worse as well. So, what can we do? I'm going to hand it off to Diane to take it from here.
As municipal decision makers, we realize that floodplain management cannot be an afterthought. Cities and towns are working to be better prepared through their local planning efforts. Some examples include comprehensive and hazard mitigation plans, floodplain ordinances, the building code, and the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP), and standard operations around emergency response and recovery. The comprehensive plan and the hazard mitigation plan do not exist in isolation. They build upon and reinforce each other. Information about recurring hazards and past impacts identified in a hazard mitigation plan help determine priority hazards to be included in the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan establishes goals, priorities, and actions, which become the blueprint for the community and its decision making. A comprehensive plan's 20-year planning horizon and its 10-year implementation programs must consider climate change, flooding, and hazard mitigation. The Comprehensive Planning Standards Guide from the Rhode Island Division of Planning can assist with this process. Municipalities must comply with their local floodplain maps and ordinances, as well as the state building code, which includes minimum standards for building in floodplains. A community which fails to adhere to these regulations, or which grants variances in floodplains, risks its National Flood Insurance Program status. Municipal emergency management administrators establish plans and procedures to ensure effective response to an emergency. For example, East Providence employees now receive automated emails whenever flood gauges in the 10-Mile River reach the level at which minor flooding is expected. This provides municipal leaders additional lead time to prepare for possible flooding. Everyone wants a safe community. However, challenges exist. At the heart of many decisions is weighing short and long-term costs and benefits and finding a balance that works for your community. Striking a balance between elevating structures and maintaining community character, developing and conserving in the floodplain, rebuilding and relocating. Municipalities have opportunities to do more to reduce the risks from flooding by protecting, accommodating, and avoiding impacts. Cities and towns can incentivize developers to build to higher standards, join the community rating system, retrofit municipal properties, acquire flood-prone properties, and engage residents through outreach programs. Per state law, municipalities are not permitted to modify the Uniform State Building Code. However, they may establish incentives to persuade property owners to build to higher standards. Elevating structures higher than minimum standards reduce flood risks and flood insurance premiums. For example, under a definition for building height in the Rhode Island Zoning Enabling Act, freeboard of up to 5 feet may be excluded from municipal height calculations, providing an incentive to elevate more than is required. Many communities are going above and beyond and participating in FEMA's Community Rating System, or CRS. This voluntary program recognizes and encourages community floodplain management activities that exceed the NFIP minimum requirements and saves policyholders money on their annual flood insurance premiums. Benefits to the community include enhanced public safety, a reduction in damage to property and public infrastructure, avoidance of economic disruption and losses, reduction of human suffering and/or loss of life, and protection of the environment. In addition, Policyholders in 11 participating communities will receive discounts of up to 45% on flood insurance premiums. Charlestown received the best CRS ratings among Rhode Island communities, providing their taxpayers within the flood zone a 20% discount on NFIP premiums. These kinds of savings can catalyze community interest and action around hazard mitigation. Municipalities and property owners can significantly reduce risk by elevating critical elements such as utilities and information technology infrastructure above flood level. Newport, for example, has developed guidance on elevating historic buildings while maintaining village character. Bristol has installed backflow valves to prevent sewage from backing up into buildings as a result of rising waters. Westerly and Barrington have elevated several coastal properties using grant funds. Many homes along the Pecasset River in Cranston and Johnston have been repeatedly damaged by flooding. A voluntary buyback program led by NRCS is now identifying flood-prone properties and offering to purchase them from willing owners. Under the Watershed Protection and Flood Prevention Act, the full costs of acquisition, demolition, and site restoration are covered. Once buildings are removed, municipalities assume ownership and return the land to natural floodplain or open space. This nature-based retreat is often less costly and more resilient than building massive flood infrastructure such as walls or pumps. Due to funding and prioritization constraints, only a portion of the approximately 100 vulnerable properties will be immediately addressed. Outreach is key to managing flooding challenges. Decide what works best for your community. Wickford utilized the MyCoast app for crowdsourcing photos of flooding and how it is affecting the community. They were able to identify Brown Street as an area of concern, and now the public is submitting pictures of the completed stormwater management project. Bristol also took a community-wide approach, creating an outdoor education program with signage explaining the impacts of historic hurricanes. Only when people understand the risks of flooding can they begin to take action. Currently, REMA administers FEMA's 2 Hazard Mitigation Assistance Grant programs. The Flood Mitigation Assistance (FMA) program funds projects that reduce flood risk to buildings insured under the NFIP. And the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, HMGP, assists in implementing long-term measures following presidential disaster declarations. Remember, a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan is required for this funding. These are other funding options that municipalities have used. So, here are some key takeaways. Thank you for viewing this module. Go to the PrepRI website to check out additional resources. Complete the brief quiz to get your certificate and view the other modules.